Hi, welcome to another episode of That's a Thing Overture.
That's
No,
a
That's
thing.
a Thing 2
Two
Overture,
colon overture.
episode 2.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday, January the
Eight.
18th.
Yeah, the 18th. I'm Kevin.
I'm Drew, and Nolan's not here
He's
today.
doing something.
Ah, okay.
Don't worry, we have stuff to talk about. All right, I think we do.
Yeah.
Kat is in my room right now, and she's being in beast mode, as we would say.
Ooh.
She's kind of like,
See,
oh, you go.
I call mine Mauler mode because her name's Molly.
Ah, I call him beast. No, no, don't do that. Get out here. No. She just decided to try to. Okay, yeah, never mind.
No, yeah, she's being a cat.
Yeah,
Oh.
she's beasting.
So
Oh,
we got a follow-up post about the D&D OGL
yeah, we did.
contract that definitely wasn't the finalized version, and we always wanted community feedback.
Listen, we both won. You think you won, but you didn't.
Yeah.
We
It's
oh, you go.
it's the same thing that happened with like the Capcom releasing the like here's the rules about running a tournament with Street Fighter in it. And the entire community was like, no, this means I can't run tournaments anymore. And then Capcom's like, we apologize about some of the languages we used in the contract. We're internally reviewing it, and we'll let you know when we have it finalized. Like,
No, you're
oh
you're
my
trying
god.
you're trying to see if it sneaks by. We all know
Yep.
it. We all know it. You're like cuz businessman, there's always at every there's just this little creature, this specter that lives in every company and everything you love, and they're just screaming, I want more money and I want it now. And everything you want is just this one person, and they're saying, I want money, I want it all, and I will burn down everything to get it. Burn it all down, cash in.
Listen, they're willing to pay more money for this stuff than what they're currently paying. They have to be.
Like,
Because otherwise, we can't make more money.
what? There's been a conversation to go for like the Street Fighter example, where some guy at like Capcom is like, listen, these people at these tournaments, they're playing, multiple people are playing like with one copy of the game. And that's a lot of market share that's being lost, because all those people they're coming in and then they're all playing. So what we need to do.
Listen, you know what those people at those tournaments are doing? They're paying venue fees and they're paying game entry fees. All I'm saying is my beak is dry. My beak
My
ain't
beak is
touching that.
dry. We need them to pay us, and we need to implement a thing. Let's just say local play is locked off unless you pay for the local edition, which is
Yeah.
$200 a pop instead of whatever 60.
Instead of included in the game.
Yeah, you gotta. It's DLC, and they say brilliant businessman, and then they implement it. The game is done, and they said, "Where's businessman?" And businessman is at another company ruining it because he got like $1 million severance pay for his genius idea. But yeah, like that was garbage. Like that whole
Mm-hmm.
statement when they're, and it's such like a blatant thing where they're like, we're just doing this to make sure that NFTs and like hate speech can't be part of D&D. Like that's the whole
I
reason.
so I definitely feel like that's probably where the conversation did initially start of, we need to make sure other people aren't making tons and tons of money off of our properties.
Or
And then at
someone's
some
not
point
making
along the
like
way,
a racism Dungeons and Dragons, and then it
yeah,
shows up on
yeah,
Fox or somewhere, or it's like
yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons fascism recruitment tool, and they're like, no.
But that's not going to show up on Fox News. Fox News would then be like, kids are playing Dungeons and Dragons and having fun.
Okay, well,
Kids love White Wolf.
Yeah, they love the old white wolf. They love that specific guy. That one
Uh,
guy, they
but
just can't get enough. The guy that got
so
fired or whatever.
yeah, so like I can definitely see if I'm thinking of Dungeons and Dragons and I'm thinking of the Satanic Panic
Hmm.
that they do have a reason to protect their IP.
Oh, I agree with that. But
But the fact that they included the language saying anything you make we own,
and it was a lot
that
of
is
it was that, and then it was stuff where it's like, and anything someone creates, we can come on in there. We can get
yeah,
our
like
beak wet.
it's clearly not designed at just hampering the stuff at the top, like
No.
the mass money makers. That I would dare say most of the like best content for Dungeons and Dragons is fan made.
Well, that's the whole point. It's the whole point of YouTube. I mean, it could even be stuff like guy makes YouTube video about like Dungeons and Dragons, or like I mean, it was like Critical Role, like the Adventure Zone and stuff, where it's just, and they
Yeah.
just Wizards just like, write us a check. You
Yep.
used our stuff, write us a check. It reminds me. It was
Yeah.
also, it was similar to like that. Do you remember that Nintendo thing they wanted to do, where it was like if you streamed or did a YouTube video of like a Nintendo game, you had to pay royalty, like a creator program or something.
Yeah, I feel I know what you're talking
Like they
about.
tried to get one of those where it's like, listen, people like these YouTube videos where they're playing Mario Kart and Splatoon and Smash Brothers, so you gotta join the Nintendo Creator Club, or we're gonna strike those videos down. And I feel like it's one of those where it's just like, nah, we want the money and we want no effort to do it. But
Yeah, it's people are making money off our stuff. Why aren't we making that money off our stuff?
but it's not even like, why aren't we making money off our stuff? It's how can we make money by not doing anything? Because like
Yeah.
if Dungeons and Dragons is under monetized, because I was thinking about this in the shower, it's like, okay, why don't you just say you're Hasbro, you have Dungeons and Dragons. Why don't you do like, here's the My Little Pony adventure game. It's a basic Dungeons and Dragons like board game kind of adventure. You
So
make your but
so that's even a step beyond of what they have to do. Like you have you have the D&D Beyond app or whatever.
yeah,
Is that on your phone or on like a web-based
it's
app?
a. I think it's both. Like I use it
Oh,
for website. I use the free one that just lets you make a character.
yeah. Does it have ads in the free one?
No, or maybe it
Why?
does.
There you go.
Maybe it does. I don't know. I have ad block on, so like if website
Yeah.
has ads,
So
I do not know.
I feel like I have downloaded the D&D Beyond app on my phone and it didn't have ads. I'm gonna download it right now. Oh, whoops! I searched for B&D.
Yeah, there you go.
I
Dungeons
remember
and Dragons.
Brunches and
Yeah,
Dragons.
but like it doesn't have ads, or there has like a subscription, because the subscription and stuff is for like you can buy or get like your source books to show up on there.
Yeah, which
So
that's convenient.
yeah,
So I will say that all of this stuff has just made me start looking at modules again, and man, like there's a lot of good modules out there for D&D,
there's some cool
and
stuff. Even old,
and it's not even. That's what I keep like. All I look at is stuff for OSR, which is like old school Renaissance,
yeah,
and it's because I don't. For those unfamiliar, the basic difference between first edition and stuff, and once you start to get to third and into fifth edition, is old school stuff. You're normal people who then like start going on adventures, and you never get crazy super powered.
yeah. There's
Whereas like 5e you start off as like the main character.
yeah, and it works better for like it's weird when you think about Dungeons and Dragons for like a role playing standard. I actually think for pure role playing, I don't think it's great, but for like
Which
as
one?
oh, like fifth edition, because I've played a bunch of fifth
Yeah,
edition and it's good, but
yeah,
it still feels like I'm playing tabletop like Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
where like, yeah, you can do stuff, but there's not like, and if your DM will let you get weird with it, you can get weird with it, but you can't get really weird with it. And part
Yeah.
of that
I
is
feel
just
like that's more allowed in old school D&D.
yeah. It's also depends on like what your dungeon master or whatever wants to do.
Yeah.
That's always been my
Um
back burner project, is trying to think about how to do that. I really liked. It makes me sad that like Rob stopped U Realms, because I really liked his system and I liked a lot of the things that
yeah.
were going in on with it.
And a lot of that is just straight up old school D&D.
Yeah, it's very but it's just a lot more simple. Of like the stats were
You
basically
just
removed.
yeah, you just don't roll your stats at the start, but otherwise it's like the same.
Yeah, it's just
Oh,
higher.
that is really good. It would be nice to like print off a set of those cards.
He was working on it, and then he had like a mental breakdown and then stopped.
Yeah.
But
And then
like,
he just streams GTA.
well, he started redoing Youth Realms cartoons.
Wasn't that really skeezy though?
No, that was, oh god, he had a lot of problems. So like recently he started to like do, like he was like, he's kind of like rebranded, and he's like, okay, we're gonna like, he redid the U Realms cartoon as if, but like it's okay. I like kind of like what he's doing, where it's like U Realms, but it's remixed in a way
Yeah.
where like, and there's like an audience that it's a thing I think is really cool, ambitious, but sadly will not come to fruition. I
Yeah.
almost want to say that like, and I mean this in a complimentary but also like a realistic way. I think he is like the Peter Molyneux of of like web-based entertainment, where I look at this, I'm like, it's a genius, you've sold me on it, but you've reached too far and you can't pull it off quite, or you'll
Yeah.
there's like hubris.
I oh, yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I still it's he tried to make a video game, and I think that's the point that he should not have.
Well, it's but like I can see what he was thinking, because
He's like,
he,
I can do the animation stuff, and like I've figured out how to do all the other things on my own, so I can figure out how to make a video
well, it's
game.
also, he did like, he and like his crew, they did a lot of that modded Minecraft stuff. So I can see like when you do that stuff and you're like, okay, I have that. I have, which is like scripting and programming and stuff. A lot of like the Minecraft stuff he did was like that. You can see like,
Yeah.
okay, I do that. I have this, and I have ideas. I can just put them together. It's not that hard. On paper,
Yeah.
it's not that hard. But in reality, it's infinitely hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I feel like, I don't know. Wizards of the Coast has to always be looked at skeptically. Although you could say like any major nerd thing has to be looked at skeptically.
Seriously. Well, now it's just any product.
I would say, yeah. There's a lot where it's just like, okay, when's it coming?
That's that's another reason why of just God, you can't I can't even say buy stuff from small developers. Like you can't
No,
like
it's
one of the people I like have regularly like found is just, oh, this guy just makes incredibly good D&D modules. Like technically they're legend no, Lamentations of the Flame Princess. It's the technical system,
yeah.
but that is still made with the OGL, and it's you can still just slide any of those campaigns into like any other like advanced D&D system and run them with no problem. But he was working with someone else who like turned out to be a total narcissist, manipulator, control freak, and it's like, and that's not unique to this
No,
medium.
it's really
That
not.
happens everywhere.
No,
Look
it's
at Arturo
well,
Sanchez and Street.
that's what I'm saying. There's always like it doesn't matter how insular you get. There's always like the evil guy or the jerk. We'll just
Yeah,
call them the jerk, and they'll show up, and you're
yeah.
like, but why? I'm in this. I'm in this minute like community thing, and everyone's okay. But then the one guy, like an evil person, will show up and like, now I can scam.
No, it's my spear.
Now I can scam it. Time to scam, and you're like, but there's nothing to gain here. Well, I guess there's always something to gain. It's just, oh man. So what did you think about the whole Justin Roiland revealed as like domestic abuser thing that's going on?
It's God, it's another one of those of like I've just never liked Justin Roiland, but at the same time, it's like I wish this wouldn't have happened to that person, these
I
people.
agree.
Like it's like one of those of like, well, he's kind of been shitty all the time, and now I guess I'm vindicated in not liking him instead of just thinking he's not funny. But
It doesn't feel good to
I would
be.
change it. Yeah, I would change it back to I wish I just didn't like him for no real reason. Like Mr. Wizard. I did like Mr. Wizard, and then it turns out he's a sexual predator, and it's like I would take a world where I just irrationally don't like Mr. Wizard of Evo and no one got preyed upon.
I think that's the big deal. Well, there's like because there's like I love being angry. We'll get to manufactured hate, which is
Oh,
one of my
watch
things.
Wednesday then.
Okay. Okay. So I enjoy being angry and being part of the angry mob. I'll admit that. I love it. It makes me feel real good. But I don't like it whenever it's like actual people were hurt and this
Yep.
like like when everyone was upset at Wizards of the Coast, I'm thrilled. I'm so happy. I love I love being a part of that anger. It makes me happy. But that's because realistically, when they announced that thing, no one at the time was hurt. If that makes sense. Like,
So
well,
okay, so I kind of disagree with
okay,
that
no,
because
feel free to disagree.
that is like that kind of rules change is going to upend like the small creators' lives who that's like a part of their income is creating this stuff.
I mean, yes, but not when it wasn't drafted. Like at the time.
Yeah, when still yeah I know, but
It's
still if
yeah, I
like
know. Oh,
that
it would.
coming out
Oh, it
was like a
messes.
concern.
It actually messes up a lot of stuff, and it messed up like a lot of people that I enjoy, like YouTube channels that talk about Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Like a lot of them were like, "Uh oh, this is bad." Once again, my boy Mr. Rex, who did have a Kickstarter like campaign book that would have been that like past the whatever 75K, and then he's like, "Uh oh, now do I have to pay royalties?" Because it ended right as this thing goes into thing. Apparently they changed it or delayed it so it didn't. But he was like, well, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's just ridiculous.
But yeah,
And it's just so insulting to like your fans.
it's such like a
Did you see the like Austin Walker? I think he just quote tweeted the thread about like the original OGL anyway is insidious as is.
I did not.
So the original OGL is like, okay, it's actually, you read it and it's like, oh, it's super nice. It just creates, it's like fans, hey, we know you love this system, so we're giving you a way to harness this system and make the content you love and what other players want. But in reality, it's like, well, as Wizards of the Coast, our number one selling products anywhere, the player's handbook and the referee's tome. So the more free stuff that comes out to support those, basically free marketing for us and free like entrenchment of fans into the Dungeons and Dragons system.
It's also and I think a lot of companies misunderstand the fact of like brand health or whatever,
Yep.
where it's like if people think of Dungeons and Dragons and go, I like that. That's good.
Yep. Yep.
That's one of the hardest things to do.
Yep. And so it's also then turns it into a thing of like now D&D is the like entrenched defender. So if anyone's releasing any type of game or something like it, people naturally would be like, but how's it going to compete with Dungeons and Dragons instead of just like be successful?
Or even people, and I'm one of them, are lazy and don't like to learn a wide variety of tabletop role playing systems. So they'll pick the most popular one and be like, "That's the one."
Yeah.
Like, and they'll be like, "No, I'll just do 5e. Is it 5e? No, I'm not gonna play it
Yeah.
unless it's like simple or easy, or I can understand it." Which makes, which it's yeah, but yeah, man, yeah. So I'm assuming Wednesday was not very good. I didn't watch it.
Oh my God, like it's just I don't know. Like I just don't
Is this
I
gonna
don't
is
understand what
Are we gonna like? Okay, can we like we'll combine this with Velma? I have not seen Velma.
I'm not gonna watch
I'm not
Velma.
going to watch it. Like I feel like
But
if you watch it, you give it power.
yeah. But so Wednesday, I don't understand why everyone's like dick riding Wednesday. It's poorly written, like it's lazily written. And I think it's just people are like, oh, it's an IP I'm familiar with and haven't had any media of in like a hot minute. So it's like, oh, this is, oh, yes, yes. Like, the problem is, like, they're not kooky and they're not especially spooky.
Oh,
Let me
what?
ask you
Tell
this
me more.
something.
Yeah. Okay. Hit me up.
Okay, so part of this show is when Gomez was at this boarding school, like Gomez and Morticia went to this boarding school that Wednesday has been sent to.
Yeah.
It was apparently a big deal and scandalous, and the family doesn't talk about this like murder accusation Gomez has.
I would
But
assume that between in that family, they'd be talking about that all the time.
yeah, like no one would care.
No, not that's not the Adams family don't give no crap about like, yo, Gomez, did you kill someone? He'd either say
Yeah,
no or yes. And
yeah.
then it continued. There's no like a
It'd be
mystery.
like, yeah, right. It's a case of like, well, I almost did, but then this happened, and so I didn't. Or
I
it'd be like, yeah, I murdered him. Who hasn't done a murder or two?
Yeah, I don't know. Gomez never felt like the murdering type to me.
Well, yeah, but like if he
Morticia
had,
would. But if they would,
yeah,
but okay, for the sake of argument, yeah, if he did, he would. They'd say it, and the family
wouldn't
wouldn't
matter.
care. It wouldn't care.
Yeah, he'd
He,
just be like, whatever, who cares?
if Gomez killed someone, they probably deserved it. I'm gonna lay that right down.
Yeah, or like he was dueling, and like they just
Nah,
that's
that
what
deserves
happens in
it.
a duel.
No, that's
Yeah,
deserved.
like
If you challenged him to a duel and then to the death, and then he goes, okay,
yeah,
that's there's. I'm not guilty. You did it. You walked in that ring. If you walk in that ring and you get hit, you got hit. So anyway, continue about the
and like
Wednesday.
so it's a minor recurring thing of like Wednesday's writing a novel or whatever, and like she says at one point she complains about like the line of like what write what you know. It's like that's just a way to limit your imagination when you write. And like that's the main problem with this damn show is the writers are not writing what they know and they don't understand it means like no, you need to research and better understand shit so when you write it it's authentic and you don't have someone asking a cello player to perform with the marching band at an event.
Yeah. Oh god, that's stupid.
Yeah,
Unless it's a
and like
joke.
nope, it's sincere.
Oh, well, that doesn't make
And
sense.
it's yeah, and it's like one of those of like okay, even from like the most basic level, no one's gonna hear her. No one's gonna hear a single cello player
No, that doesn't.
surrounded by um
Well,
a marching band.
it sounds like it's one of those things where like you've lost suspension of disbelief.
Yeah,
If you lose suspension of disbelief, you've lost the show entirely.
yeah. And so like and it's just filled with stuff like this where it's just dumb and bad. And I might get staticky for a second as
That's
I go
fine.
from Wi-Fi to cellular.
Yo, that's fine. It just, well, there's this kind of show, and it's just like, it seems like we're getting, because people are so averse to either new things, or the hot new streaming meta is to apparently make one season of a show, then make season two and cancel and never release season two for the tax write-off. Apparently that is hyper profitable because it seems to be happening. Like every streaming service, it's like, yo, we'll make one season of a show, end it on a cliffhanger, and never again.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what do you mean? Don't you
Just
want? Yeah.
it's just I don't it's just bad, and like I don't know, there's no like subtlety in the writing of like casually saying something. It has to be like in your face and loud about it.
I think it's
Like,
also it's the fact that it's like it's you clearly want to write this sort of thing, and you're trying to grasp a brand to attach it to, but
yep,
like what, but the brand is either vaguely tangentially related but not used at all. Like that's what it sounds like.
yeah.
Where you're
Well,
like,
this was the case too, where I feel like they looked at it and they're like, "Oh, we'll get the Addams Family and Tim Burton, and it'll market itself because it does. Because
well, yeah,
people
no,
will
no,
just flock to Tim Burton's name.
like
I don't know why.
cynically it's a genius idea because you say Tim Burton in a vaguely goth property and then you put it on and people will eat it up like the dumb piggies they
Yeah,
are. Yum yum,
and
eat
like
mom
they've
slop.
they've realized like they don't have to have good writers. Like it doesn't matter. People don't care.
Well, yeah, they don't care as long as they're watching it, as long as
Yeah.
it's familiar. But
Yep.
it's just it but and my
So
issue,
so let me
I
let
want to
me
say
let
that,
me really
okay, you go.
sorry, I was gonna say let me really damn this show. Kelsey just spent the past couple months rewatching Vampire Diaries,
Oh
and
man,
like that, yeah, and that is like a CW drama as it gets, and like I have problems with that show.
I have not watched that show, but I did watch the Ginny Nicholson 5 hour retrospective on it.
Yeah, show like fucking ass paired Wednesday. Can have
Uh-oh,
like who the
you're
characters
roboting.
are. Oh yeah, it's gonna
Yeah,
driving by like construction.
no, I hear you.
How bad is it?
A little bad.
So okay, you do your thing, and then I'll
Okay,
talk about it
I'll
again.
go. My whole thing, well, my rant is I feel part of me feels responsible when you take the show and then add in the spice over it. Because as I've said many times, I really like Pennyworth season one because it's a good show, and then there's a little bit of Batman sprinkled on top where you're like, oh, okay, that's neat. But the show itself is good. It's a legitimately good show, and then just ignore the other
Yeah,
two seasons. Ignore it. Don't watch season two and three. Just end it after one.
yeah,
You can let that one simmer and go like, man, that was pretty good. But
yeah.
yeah, you're saying about like, yeah, like
So
Vampire
yeah, like
Diaries.
Vampire Diaries, I think there's a lot of Diaries. I think, but at least like the show adheres to itself and like actually bothers to explain stuff
Well, it's made
as
for
opposed to
someone.
yeah, as opposed to like Wednesday, like the writer need them to happen, otherwise they won't be able to. Wednesday has random vision in this. It's
Oh,
why
you're going out.
have
You're going out.
okay. Okay, tell me about
I'll say
about
it's okay. Uh,
okay.
no. I mean, like
When
it's fine. You're
okay.
roboting out. I was just gonna say, like, I feel like even with those kinds of shows, they were made for someone instead of trying to be made
Yeah.
for everyone. Because once you get made for
Yeah.
everyone, it's just like I don't like things being made for everyone anymore. I don't want
Yeah,
that.
no, it's bad.
It's really bad.
It's always been bad.
But I feel it's only gotten worse. where everything's trying to be made for everyone, and then it turns out like this is for no one. Syndrome
Yep.
was right all along.
Yep. So Wednesday gets random visions in the show. It doesn't explain why she started suddenly getting them. I think it's implied it's an Addams Family thing. Maybe Morticia gets them too, but whatever. But really, I think it's so the writers could solve the mystery they were making without having to be good mystery writers.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a great way to just be like, well, here's some evidence. Thank God we didn't have to write that into a scene so it felt like she naturally discovered that evidence. She gets vision, and then she knows some more stuff.
Oh, she just
I'm a good writer.
her psychic powers told her the clue. I'm a genius. But then,
Also,
oh, you go.
Murderer. I didn't feel more credit.
You're roboting out.
Like that. No.
Yeah.
So the call murder on like episode 2, like basically as soon as it happens.
Okay. Yeah.
And then she starts doubting herself by giving the show too much credit to be like, well, it would be this bad. No, it is that bad.
No, it's just obvious. Occam's razor.
Yeah. Yep.
Just Occam's razor, Wednesday. You probably have
Yeah.
a knife that's called Occam's razor, and you used it to threaten, like, the brother. I forget his name.
Huxley.
Yeah. You probably said, and now Occam's razor that deals with stupid. And he's like, I'm stupid. And then he gets stabbed. There you go. That's my Addams Family reboot. It's pretty good. I think it has a lot it has a lot of positive points. The points, of course, being Occam's razor, the knife.
So, okay, talk about at one point, Thane gets stabbed and like pinned to a wall, and like Wednesday discovers him. And when she asks like who did this, he's like, to imply like them the back. He stabbed his palm into the wall, and there is no wound. So no one can sneak up and stab you from behind. Like, it's just, they don't know if that's like reading the script and then just not directing it up, or if no one cared. Tim's phoning it in for 20 years.
Oh no,
He did Planet of the Apes and then stopped trying.
No, he just like he has like he goes, all right, we're just gonna do Nightmare Before Christmas or Edward Scissorhands again. Just put that.
That's
on
Henry Selick.
Well, I'm Tim Burton. I'm just gonna steal it.
I know.
No, that's what I mean. I'm just gonna. That's all I'm gonna do. We're gonna slam it again. Although I mean,
I used to have to fight with Hollywood.
Now Hollywood just laps it up.
Yep.
I don't know. It's also like I was thinking about like the Velma show. I haven't seen it. It looks bad. It looks like Brickleberry, but
yeah.
Velma. That's like,
yeah.
Like I feel like
that is so damning.
Whenever I see something like that, I don't even see like Family Guy. I'm like, oh, you made a Brickleberry. That's like my generic adult.
You're not wrong.
A generic adult cartoon with no redeeming value. It's like, no, you made Brickleberry, but then you put like some Scooby Doo, and then you change some characters' racial like ethnicities just to make the chuds mad. But then the show is bad, so it makes everyone mad. Like that's what you did. But yeah, like I saw, it's like I don't know. And a part of me thinks that Scooby Doo is like the ultimate formula to manufacture that kind of rage because it has such a long like broadcast history and vague popularity that everyone has at least one or more incarnations of Scooby Doo they enjoy. I'm safe in saying.
Uh,
If not enjoy, you're still kind of coming in. But if not enjoy, at least like or like, yeah, that's fine. I can't think of other things that have that like sway. Well, at least in other things that are like I guess you could say Looney Tunes, but Looney Tunes has been like dead for periods of time. I don't think there's been a point where Scooby Doo was just gone. I don't know if Drew's trying to say something. He's not coming through. So I'll just keep going. Interject if you can. But yeah, I don't agree that Velma is a good idea. It feels like I subscribe more to the thing or like this is manufactured to get hate watched because we made Brickleberry and then we put in some like quote unquote progressive racial humor that is just bad. And then you're like, behold our bad show. We have no other cartoons, so it's automatically the number one cartoon because we have deleted every cartoon on HBO. And I don't know, man. Not thrilled about that. I do say in my personal, if you ask me to redo like a remake of Scooby Doo, I tweeted about it, put in some more Dobie Gillis. And by putting in Dobie Gillis, you put in like the side characters of Dobie Gillis. You put in Mr. and Mrs. Gillis as like Fred's parents. You show up in like our cantankerous but well-meaning. And then you add in Chadsworth as like the villain. You see the Scooby Gang is like causing mysteries, but Chatsworth is setting them up as the rival. And his mom, who's just like evil Mr. Burns. Which is like, that's how she was in the show. And to top it all off, you give him a talking cat. And the cat's name is Catsworth. Think about it. It works. And then you just kind of let it ride. Let it ride. Have some shenanigans. Have some episodes. People love it. They don't know. That's all you got to do. It's not hard. So Drew's disconnected. So I'm gonna talk about other things that made me upset. Which was, I got it tweaked about the apes. The Bored Ape NFTs are back, and they're making some kind of video game scam. And I watched a Twitter thing about it, and I have no idea about how this works because it kept saying things, and I was confused. It was like you have to buy your ape, and then your ape has to buy the pass, but then the pass gets upgraded if you have a mutant, and then you have to go inside the other ape's butthole, which is apparently vital for the ape lore. I don't know. We constantly have to say what the apes are doing. Get them out of there. Don't like them. Get out. But you can't let them forget. It's kind of like the OGL Wizards of the Coast. You got to stay ever vigilant. You gotta shout these things out and mock them whenever they show up. At all times. What else? New TFT set. It's hard. They've changed it. I actually kind of think the balance patch is a little worse. It feels like 4 aces and set tank is like strong, and I don't understand it anymore. I used to understand it. Now I don't. As Drew said, it's probably like more balanced now. It doesn't feel that way. So I'm not a fan of that. What else am I thinking about? I watched football. It's okay. Oh, Okay, he's Drew's coming back. But yeah, football's hard to watch, man. Because it's like nonstop commercials. Like I watched the Bills and the Dolphins game, and it was like a comedy of errors. It was like, Buffalo desperately trying to lose that game. Bad Josh Allen showed up, was throwing like interceptions, but thankfully the third string quarterback let the Dolphins lose triumphantly, even though the score was like 34 to whatever. I don't even remember. It was just a nightmare. It was too long. It was too boring. Didn't like it. Also, all the commercials, and the commercials are terrible. They're all for like insurance and sports betting. It's like trucks. All of these things I'm not gonna get. I'm not gonna get homeowners insurance, Geico. What are you doing? Who do you think you're talking to? Like the only ads that were like relevant was like the one where they're like, "Yo, it's Taco Bell," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know what Taco Bell is. I eat there."
Uh,
You're roboting. Still robot. My life as a teenage robot. XJ9.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever
We're
happened.
good.
We're better.
Okay.
Whatever happened to
Sorry,
Robot Jones?
Target is real bad. Like Dread, where they're like, yeah, but can your signal go through a mile of concrete?
Yeah.
That Target is in like the first floor of an apartment complex, like
Hell
student
yeah.
housing apartments.
Love it. Got the Mega City 1. I was just talking about football. You saw Mad God. What's up with that?
So Nolan talked about this a while ago too. It's on AMC Plus it's on Shudder, but that if you have AMC Plus, it comes with Shudder. So Phil Tippett is a special effects guy who's been in the industry and done, such hits as Starship Troopers and RoboCop, and
he said the Verhoeven
yeah,
crew.
yeah, but well, it's not just Verhoeven. He's done a lot of stuff. He's just done a lot of stuff. So this is a movie he's been working on for a decade plus, and it's plot light. It just starts with like this opening scrolling script of like there was this land cursed by their gods, such that like even if were conquered by their enemies, they wouldn't want this land.
Yeah, I love it.
And it's mostly I'm trying to think of what to call it. A series of set pieces, it's like a series of concepts
Is it like
strung together.
like an anthology kinda?
No, it's not an anthology.
Is it like
it's
heavy metal?
Yes, but instead of there being a through line of the Lochnar, it is all just tied together.
Yeah, it's just kind of like
it is all actual connected pieces. But oh man, it's got a look and a feel and a flavor. Oh, it's one of the best movies of 2022.
Oh, okay.
I wish Nolan was here so we could talk about it.
Nah, you just
So I might pause this one for next week.
Nah, you can always put a pin in there. What speed runs you been watching?
I'm trying. None of them really hit me as much as they used to. I don't know if I was just, getting numb to it, but
some of it's.
I liked SSX because I always want to play those games and I never play those games.
I think part of it is it has to be the game, and then it has to be a specific like
runner.
Well, it's not even runner. It's like category.
Also, I think what hurts it too is it's still not live, and my brain it's live, but it's not in person, and I think that hurts my brain.
It adds to it a lot. the
Yeah, that
audience reactions, the like I understand it's COVID
yeah.
protocols and stuff. I get it. I
Yeah,
get the
and just
remote,
like
but it's not. It feels like I'm watching live streams instead of
yes.
I'm watching like, all right,
Yes.
here's the convention. Here we go. Everyone's getting really hyped when the guy hit the jump, and the audience cheers.
Yes.
When everyone sees an orb and they yell orb, and you hear everyone yelling orb, and then the chat
And
says
like
orb.
I hate that. I hate the orb thing specifically, but it does add to the
Oh,
flavor
it's
of
part
the
of the
event.
event. It's part of the event. It doesn't matter if it's
Yeah.
good or bad. It's part of the. It's
Yeah.
the wabi sabi.
Yeah.
It makes it like, okay, now you're watching this. And
Yes.
I also I think I just have watched so many speed runs. I've got like a taste of what I think is and is not a good speed run. Like I do not like glitch any percents where you just like roll at a wall and then you like glitch through the end of the game in like 10 minutes. I don't like
I do
those.
like those.
I
I
don't
do
like.
like those, but they have to be a major AAA game.
Okay.
Like so I watched the Breath of the Wild run that was like 20 minutes. And I kind of blinked for a part and I looked back over and Link's fighting the final Ganon and he's still like naked.
Well, that one's it's less glitch and more like a hard run. It's not like there's that Ocarina of Time where like he jumps through a wall and then shows up at Ganon. I don't like that one. Or I don't like the Dark Souls Bloodborne where like you deloaded the area and you just walk to the end. I don't like those. But I did like the ones where it's like, all right, we didn't want to watch a cutscene, so we just jumped around it. Like I feel like there has to be some sort of oh some sort of like gameplay that looks like the game. Like
I can get that. But so I love the super glitchy Mario 64 runs because the camera is Lakitu and he's sending that feed to Bowser. So I love the idea that Bowser is watching Mario do this and he's just like, "Oh no.
uh-oh,
Oh no."
he's coming. But I think part of the thing is with like I feel like there has to be a skill component that's not like I have to hit jump at like a one frame to glitch through the wall. Like I have to do like a weird jump. And I'm like,
I
okay.
agree, but even that I like because you'll see them do stuff like the Legend of Zelda one, where okay, I'm looking for a specific frame, so they're literally just like mashing start so they can watch his like animation of the backflip or whatever, so they can catch the frame to do the garbage that then warps them to the final like castle.
It's also I think part of it is it was like that speed runner archive or summoning salt guy who I subscribe and watch. I watch his videos. But there's like the human element where like
Yeah.
you'll see like the Mario run in 30 seconds. And then there's a ton of run trying to get it to like 29.5.
Yep.
And while like 29.5 is incredibly impressive how they did it, but like it's not to me as an outsider more impressive than 30 seconds. Like
Eh, I get it, but that's like luge.
yeah,
So I like anytime it's humans trying to recreate a task.
oh yeah, because that's what they had to do. It's like, well, you got to do these like four perfect frame jumps, and that'll shave off the
Yeah.
28 milliseconds.
Yep. It's at this point the only way to improve the time is doing four impossible things in the run. So you're just running countless runs, and statistically you'll get it eventually.
And one of them is RNG dependent because it has to be
Yeah.
the Goomba spawned on the left side. Because sometimes it usually spawns on the right, but if you go fast enough on frame 148, it has to reload and spawns on the left, which gives you enough
Yeah.
time to slightly jump on it. You're like, dang. But yeah, I watch it occasionally. It also has to be the game. Like I watched the Vampire the Masquerade one because that's a
Hmm.
game that's like I'm like this is bizarre to be speed run, so I love to see it. When you have like
That's
these,
like I want to know. There has to be Vampire Survivor speedruns, and I don't know if that's just like how fast can you survive the full 30 minutes.
it's either all achievements or which is long, but it's probably like beating like a boss. I would imagine it's how fast can you get to get hit the boss. But even then, I think it'd be a long. I don't. It's you have to have a category for it.
Yes, 100%.
I wouldn't speedrun Vampire Survivors, although they'll find a way. I watched
Yeah.
that video about Lego Star Wars and how they got it under like 2 hours. They beat that game in like 2 hours. I'm like, whoa, that was cool. But yeah, that kind of event, I'm not like hyper into it anymore.
It just goes on in the background for me.
I also have a lot of other stuff I put on in the background.
Yeah. I don't have a ton of background stuff that I actually cultivate.
Oh,
If
that's
typically if I'm watching something, I'm watching it, or if I'm listening to something, I'm listening to it. I can't stand just because then I have to be like, oh wait, what are they talking about? I need to rewind this so I can see it. I
yeah.
hate doing that.
Oh, I just let it rock. That's a lot of the video. I'm saying that's why I love Jenny Nicholson's videos. Tell me 5 hours about this thing I don't care about and just talk about it in the background and I'll listen to it. At the end, I'll be like, dang, Vampire Diaries was messed up. A lot of ads for China Beach. Then I have that part of my psyche. I don't know. I while you were gone, I talked about football. I talked about the bizarre NFTs where I didn't understand what they were doing other than scams upon scams. And it was like I was getting yelled buzzwords, but every buzzword was a different pyramid scheme. And other than that, I don't know. Think we good. Think we good.
Did you talk about the board
Yeah,
yacht
I did.
yacht club ape?
I did. Do you have anything you want to talk about it other than the scam inception, where every buzzword is a new scam?
Yeah. And it's just so ridiculous and stupid.
I felt that we had to say how stupid it is because we can't let it come back. It
Like
for
even
from now
even the
on.
plot,
Oh,
the
the
plot
plot's
of the
terrible.
game.
It's like you got to get like you got to get the key upside the guy's butt because he pooped too hard. It's like what are you doing? But then again, I'm glad it's so terrible because that way we can know that this will never succeed. But we have to constantly stomp it down. We cannot let it because I feel like I feel like NFTs and crypto are like to compare it to Mad God or of dark creature that we have summoned upon ourselves and we must constantly fight because
So
the moment we stop, it's gonna show up and it'll keep
I
coming.
guess I guess it's already there, but to me, it's just the last major threat to me, and I think it's been averted, was going to be the Justin Roiland NFT. But I mean that there's some NFTs though in like his game, right?
Or something. I don't know. I didn't play that game. I
I
just saw
think
the.
there's NFTs in that, but like no one cared about that game as far as I can tell.
I was watching some soccer and one of them they were starting to talk on like the ads that they play in like on the soccer stadium. They're like sports, crypto, and NFTs. So like it's they're trying. It's like sports bet. Like I feel like this thing will constantly try, and we have
I
to
I
remain vigilant.
think I think what really hinders it is the people who would fall, the like mass majority of people who would fall for that garbage aren't technologically competent enough
to
to
do it.
buy it.
That's true. The rube does not understand how to use a crypto wallet when not
Yeah,
to fall for your crypto scam.
yeah.
I don't
That's
know how to
that's
use
the
a
real
crypto
reason
wallet.
it's small time.
That's why the old pyramid scheme worked, because you just took the money that was paper or a check, which people can do. But yeah, I just that's like I it's the never-ending fear. Also, part of it, the dystopia, is that they demolished the old dead Toys R Us building, and it made me sad.
Oh, they finally did.
Yeah,
I know, like so whenever I was in for Christmas, I saw they had started tearing up the parking lot, and that was weird because when we drove in, the first time I saw it, it was fine, and then the next time I saw it, there's a giant hole in the parking lot, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
they're like ripping it apart, and it makes me sad. It's like the final stage of
yeah,
the late stage capitalism. When I'm born, the loss of corporations. Where I like remember the good old days of going to Toys R Us. Even though I still think that we are living in better times in general. It's just a lot of the scales have fallen from our eyes, and we can see the true horror. But I do
yeah,
think,
and the other problem is they're desperately trying to eradicate that progress. As
yeah,
we talk about this on MLK Day.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Never forget when old MLK died. MLK Jr. I mean,
Yeah,
when he died, he had like an approval rating of -75% or whatever.
yep,
Like he was not at they didn't like they wouldn't put a they didn't think they'd put a holiday for that dude. They were not a fan.
yeah,
We're not a fan at all. I'm a fan.
yep,
I liked what he was saying. I'm like, hey, that's pretty good.
yep.
And then I'd be the time traveler that says, "What do you think about the crypto apes?" And then he just looks at me and just shakes his head. Just get out of here. Or the OGL. Like, what do you think about Wizards OGL? And he just looks at me and just shakes his head and goes, "What are you doing?" Time travel's not meant for that. I'm like, you know about time travel, Martin Luther King Jr.? Because of course I do. You're using it for this. You should never have used it. I think Martin Luther King Jr. would be against time travel. I'm against time travel. I think time travel's a bad idea.
I'm fine with time travel. I think it's self-fulfilling.
Well,
I don't think you can
oh, so you
alter
so you
anything.
think that time travel is basically impossible? Like, it's possible, but you've already done it, so therefore you've done it, and you can't
Yeah.
change anything.
Also, or alternatively,
Is it Dragon Ball Z rules, where you just make
n-
a new branch every time you travel
no,
back in time?
I was gonna say, or alternatively, how it's gonna work is it's gonna be like building a door in a wall. So once you make the time machine, all you can do is go back. The earliest you can go back is to when the time machine was first made.
Ah, so it's the rule of, at least it's not that stupid Tomorrow War rule where you can only go back 25 years.
Why? Oh,
I don't know. But the date keeps moving. So you
yeah,
can't go so you can't go past the thing. I'm like, that's just stupid. Hate that movie. Hate that movie so much. That's like the last movie I saw that just like got the bile flowing. Never not forget that one.
yep.
Anyway, tell us your opinions on time travel in the comments below. I also like the Futurama if it just works. The self-correcting paradox.
Yep.
Just like, no, it just fixes. Oh, what were we gonna say about a mutant, the best episode of Ed, Ed and Eddie, which is of course
Oh, so yeah, like it's Wednesday is just Sabrina. They just put a new coat of paint on it, but it's just Sabrina.
that episode is like so relevant to like my entire life and seeing everything, where people just keep trying to make it work. And it just doesn't. Never will.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're doing this again, huh? You in Mutant Land. Fridge World. Man, I liked Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Mm-hmm. Same.
They're like,
But
that's also one of the things, just before we quit, it's just, it's like, when I see animation and everything getting canceled, and now even like the bland Brickleberry adult animated comedies getting canceled, and I'm like, it's like all the cartoons I like are they can't be made anymore.
mm-hmm.
And that's a weird feeling. I feel like anime can still be made,
Yeah, because it's in Japan.
but they still make
But you,
it.
you know what costs money, Kevin? Do you know what costs money?
Animators.
Quality
Oh, that's
creators.
true. You can't. Yeah, that cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Brickleberry can
And
be
then
written
they
by the
and then
chat AI.
and then they start arguing with me, the producer, and they think they know what goes into a good show, and then they make me feel like I'm incompetent and small and weak, and they've got to go. They just gotta go.
Gotta go. Man, I miss when I really liked cartoons. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I watched some Bluey. I thought Bluey was good. Bluey
Yeah,
holding
the
it
only
down.
thing with Bluey is it's like
It's for
just
babies.
yeah, it's for babies. So like I'm not gonna watch it because it's literally for
Yeah, like I'm
babies.
not. It's not for me, but I'm like, yo, this for baby shows. Bluey's knocking it out. But
If I
yeah,
had a kid, I would put Bluey on, and that's what they would
yo,
watch, and
they
I'd be like,
watch
"This
some
is fine."
Bluey. They watch some Moomin. You get them. You get a. That's a well-adjusted kid. That's a cool kid.
Yep. No, they're not.
No, they're cool to like. They're cool to 30-year-olds, but not cool to
Yeah.
5-year-olds. That I think that would be my hubris as a parent if I had a child, is my kid would be the coolest kid, but only if you're like a 36-year-old person. You'd be like, man, that kid's taste is exquisite.
Yep.
And then they're just an outcast. That kid knows the good episodes of Dexter's Lab. Anyway, later days. Bye.
Later days.